Hey, what's up, y'all? My wife said I move around too much in my videos. Well, how do you like this? No, let me stop. I wasn't going to address this topic because I know I tend to come off as, angry about certain things that I get passionate about. But I was thinking about this late last night. And a couple Bible verses reminded me about this. When you read through Daniel, when you read through Acts and see what the apostles had to go through. And one of the things that they always were fighting against was the government. The government that ultimately Satan used to try to suppress the gospel. One of the things that hit me wrong and that just affected me in a way that I was like, this is not right. I was talking to one of my friends who lives in Georgia, and he was saying he was looking for a church and how every church was shut down because of the virus. And I believed him because I had looked through some of the churches and I saw many churches that shut down and moved to online teaching. And I was like, what in the world? Why is every church? It seemed like you can't barely find a church that's open right now. This is a couple months back. I don't know if they're still doing that now. I don't want to accuse anybody. But one of the things that really made me do is, at first I was sad because I was like, man, there's a lot of people living in fear right now. A lot of people that are really affected by what they see on the news, and they're letting that affect them. And because of that, people are not hearing the gospel. And then it made me mad. It made me real mad. It made me mad because I feel like that's how I should feel. And that's how God is leading me to feel. And I'll explain. There's too many sissy, weak, punk men that claim that they are leaders of the church and are scared of everything from the government to their wives to anybody that tell them they can't do what God led you to do. I can say that again if you need me to, because I'm getting pissed off. Because people claim they serve the same God that Joshua served. They claim they serve the same God David served. Please, get out of my face. And the reason why I get so mad about that is because if you read the gospel, it's very clear. It's very clear what Daniel did when they threw him in the lion's den, when they told him don't serve your God, and he prayed in the public. After they told him not to, he did it anyway. They told Jesus to stay away from the lepers. What did he do? He went around the lepers. But we scared of somebody because they coughing. Are you serious? It makes me sick. And let me say what I'm not saying. I'm not saying if you caught the virus that you should just go to church anyway and have faith. And that churches don't need to shut down because this is just, we should just muscle through it. If you have a serious health risk, like some of our people that are over 60, over 50, or have have other things going on inside their body, medical issues. I'm not saying that you got to live recklessly, but I'm saying that God has not given us the spirit of fear. What does that mean? The only way you can show that you don't have the spirit of fear is in the face of something that's scary. You don't get to say God has not given us a spirit of fear unless the government tells us to do something, then we're going to sit back and just listen to the government every single time. No, if the government told you to shut down and stop teaching the gospel, but yet you see on the internet that Obama is having a party where he got more people than my church has ever had in it, and every elite is going to galas, and every little thing, every little party they want to go to is open, and they ain't wearing masks, but the church got to sit and shut down. You know what made me really sad? And this is something that encouraged me at the end, but at the beginning made me very sad. Even some of the pastors I looked up to, some of the pastors that have wrote things that I read, commentaries that I read, were so wrapped up in this that they end up shutting their churches down too. Some of them reopened them and even won some lawsuits against the government in their state. But it made me sad because I was like, dude, is there anybody willing to stand up? Is there anybody who's going to say we're going to serve God no matter what? Isn't anybody in my church shut down for 1 week because the pastor, his wife, and a couple of other people came back with the virus? And I commend that. I'm not against that. But what I'm saying is this. We reopened, and I don't remember anybody else reopening. I'm not saying they did. Maybe you know a church that did. But we represent the same God that led his people with a pillar of fire. The same God that crumbled the walls of Jericho. And we sit over here and we scared of a cough. That now we got to do church by internet. Are you crazy? Some of these men, I used to speak so softly to them because it's like, oh man, you're going to scare them away if you're just too harsh. But I'm sick of weak men. They need to have a fire under them to say you're going to stand with God even if it means death. And you can call me crazy and say, man, this guy is unhinged. I can guarantee you they thought the apostles was unhinged. When they beat them, and they told them, do not speak anymore about Jesus. And they said, they went off praising God because God brought those trials and tribulations. And they said, we're going to keep praising right in the face of those who just beat them. They went to jail, got out of jail because God let them out. And they went right back to the place they got arrested. I bet you people called them unhinged too. I bet you people called them, man, you guys aren't obeying the gospel. You guys aren't listening to the authority. It comes a point too where you have to make a decision whether you're going to obey God or men. Because there's the thing about our government now. They ain't going to come off and say, just disobey the government. They're going to say, this is for your safety, sir. You need to get this done. You need to do that. You can't really praise in church. You can buy liquor. You can go to parties as long as the elites are there. You can do all these other things. We can show you at a baseball game as long as you're important enough. But you can't go to church for your own safety. And people will sit up and buy this. And I don't think for 1 second that they aren't smart enough to see through it. They just scared. They're scared. And those people that live in fear, I would tell you something. And this is one of the things that people will not agree with me with. And I don't care because I really believe this. I think they owe the world an apology. The church that shut down for months and months on end, if they had no medical reason to shut down, but they are scared, the churches that sat up and said, we're not going to have people worshiping because we don't want singing to spread the virus because our voices might spread something. The people that said stupid stuff like that, they owe the world an apology. Because Jesus went around the sick, the lepers, people who had way worse diseases than we did. And he sat up there and the world told him not to do things and he did it anyway. And we sit up here scared in church. And they owe the world an apology because at that time, that is when the gospel was necessary. That is when they need to see the strength, the separation between those who are scared of what the world can do and those who stand behind God because we are not afraid. And we have more faith in what God can do. But instead, they saw a weak group of people that sat in fear and did nothing. And that's why I don't even blame my friend when he was like, I didn't see any church did that. You saying your church did it, but I didn't see any other church doing that. And we was looking around. And I say, dang, that's a shame. That's a shame. What am I supposed to tell him? Well, I guess if you see a weak church, go to that one. I guess. But really what it made me realize is what me and my brother is doing right now. We want to light a fire under these men. Make them strong, faithful even unto death. If you got to fight, then fight. Because I'm sick of weak men. Weak men are hurting the church more than any other thing, in my opinion. And it's time to stop.